Good morning, students. As you know, projection of solids has been covered by Dr. T.N. Sridhar. So he has completed all types of problems in the projection of solids. Now we are moving on to projection or development of surfaces. So when it comes to development of surfaces, so as similar to solids, we may take prism class of materials, and then pyramid, and then cone and cylinder. So now today we will be starting with prism. For the first problem, I want to explain the concepts using a rectangular prism. So when we say rectangular prism, so prism is the one which has a top and bottom face similar. You know that, correct? And the prism will have a longer edges. These are the longer edges, okay, and these are the base edges. So for a rectangle, this dimension will be now according to this problem. This is the 40, and this is 25. So shorter side is 25 and the longer side is 40. Now we will draw the stage 1 of the problem as per the given condition. So when we say as per the given condition, the problem says a rectangular prism of sides 40 mm, longer side 40 mm and shorter side 25 mm rests on HP. When we say rests on HP, the solid will be resting like that on the ground. Okay. So when we say like that, so and axis height is 60 mm and it is resting on longer in such a way that the longer side is at 30 degree. So you place this and then you tilt the longer side to a 30 degree inclination. You are tilting this. So this is what we have to do with the 30 degree inclination. Once you construct the stage 1 for this, then this part, point number 4, here what we do is we take a section plane, we just cut this solid. When we cut this solid, it will become 2 pieces. And the one piece, the below one can be retained or the top one can be retained. But however, the truncated portion, what is remaining, you have to develop that portion of the solid. So now, we are now taking the surfaces only. It is not a solid, okay? It will be hollow inside. So when we when it is a hollow inside, so we get this surface as a sheet materials. So normally, sheet materials are the MS plates are being used in industries to make a different objects using this methodology. Suppose I can give you a wonderful example of funnel. Funnel is made out of a 2-piece. One is a section of a cone and the another one is a section of a cylinder. When you join the cone and the cylinder, you get a funnel. That normally we see in petrol pumps where people used to pour the petrol into the tanks. So like that we can develop any kind of materials, surfaces using the surface development technology. And it is most useful for the engineers. And now we are taking the problem number 1 in that. So while taking the problem, you have to read all the statement given. So for example, the size, the type of the solid, that is type of the object. It is a prism here, rectangular prism, axis height and resting condition, and then section plane conditions. And then further when you move, where it is cutting, whether it is the section plane is passing at the mid height or at the corner like this. In this case, it passes through the extreme left corner. When we say extreme left corner means this is the corner. So from here it will be cut. So when I cut like this, I will show that the cut section development afterwards. So when I cut this portion gets remained and that we are trying to develop. Okay. So now when the solid rests in the given condition, that is at 30 degree longer side, 30 degrees to VP. So normally you have to draw a line at 30 degree and take the longer distance, that is 40 mm on this line. So 40 mm is taken on this line and you have to maintain a 90 degree here and 90 degree here. So you have to draw a lines, perpendicular lines to this that is to the 25 mm length, and then join this. So now this is the top view. Suppose if the solid is resting like this, so when you look from the top, the rectangular true shape that you find in the given condition is written here. Okay, so now after writing this, so you have to find the center of this. You have to find the center of this. The procedure for finding the center is draw a diagonal. So when you draw a diagonal, it intersects at a point, and that point is O1. I have told you it is a prism class. The top and bottom face, that is the top face and the bottom face are similar. So as it is a prism, we have to take a two letters, A1 in the bracket. Why? This is because, so when you look at this, so you won't see this bottom. So the which are invisible, we normally put it in the bracket like this. So for one set of letters A1, B1, C1, D1, which is a bottom point, you will be putting a bracket, and the other set of points A, B, C, D, you will be writing as it is without a bracket. So you have to use a small letters for the both in this. So once you complete this, you can also mark a O1 at the center. That completes your top view representation. After completing the top view representation, as similar to the solid, you have to project this to the front view. So that I will be doing it now. I am drawing the lines from here, from all these points, including the axis line you have to take. So when you take including the axis line, so now look at this, there are 5 lines here. Why? Because the 4 points are here and one axis line. This is not merging with any other lines now. So you are bound to get a 5 lines. So now in the front view, as it is a prism, so the boundary will represent the height. So the height of the object here in this case is 60 mm. You can rise the height by 60 mm on both sides like this. So to an height of 60 mm, you can make this as a thick boundary line, because as you know in the solid, boundary lines are visible. So this will be a visible lines for you. So you will be drawing this visible lines. This is the visible boundary lines in the front view. So you have to mark the height here. So that is, you have to represent the height. So height in this case is now 60. You write it as 60. So you write it as 60. So this will represent your 60 mm height. So now axis line is there. Na? You can just take one by one. AA1. Suppose I mark this as human eye will be here. So the points which are visible to you is AA1 is visible, BB1 is visible, CC1 is visible, DD1 is invisible, which is an invisible. Okay. So and the axis. So there are 5. So now as you know, AA1 is already in the boundary. So this is the one. So if you mark it, this will be A1 dash and this will be A dash. Similarly, that this corner CC1, so C dash, C1 dash, means how many longer edges you have covered? You have covered this and you have covered this. Out of this, there are other 2. In the other 2, BB1 is closer to the observer now. So as it is closer to the observer, I have already marked here it as V. V means visible. So this is invisible. So you can construct a visible line here. So and draw a thick line. So once if you do this, we will be left with only one longer edge, that is DD1. So DD1 is here, human eye is here, it is away from the observer, close to the XY line, so it will be a dotted line. So you will be drawing a dotted line. You know the procedure for drawing the dotted lines. It will be equal length, okay, with a dot, with a space in the middle like this. So you have to draw this kind of line for the dotted line. So now you can also name this as it is visible. Call this as B dash and this as B1 dash, and C already is in the boundary, we have done it. So D will become D dash and D1 dash. So what is left now? The only thing which is left now is axis. So you can just take it is not merging with any other lines now. So you have to draw axis line here. The representation of axis line is one long line and a dot like this. So you can just use the same concept, earlier you have used it. So you draw a axis line here. So now you have to name this also, call this as O dash and this as O1 dash, okay, which is normally not visible when you look from the front. So you are putting it in the bracket. Also here DD1 is not visible, you can put that in the bracket, okay, which is invisible things, you will be using a bracket. Okay. Once after doing this, now we have constructed the stage 1 of the problem. As per the given condition, the top view and the front view, giving its boundary conditions and visibility in clear. So as per the requirement. So once you complete this, means we are up to here now. We are up to here. So further part, now if you take this part, second part, call this as part A and call this as part B. So in the part B, what is there? You have to draw a section plane at 40 degrees to the HP. So 40 degrees to HP perpendicular to VP. So now perpendicular to VP means, assume my hand is knife now. So I have to pass a knife perpendicular to the VP, means to the wall. In this case to the board. Okay, to the board like this. So I have to pass like this. So when I pass like this, we are normally used to cut a tree. So when you cut a tree, you will be moving like this, an axa, correct na? So like that, if you cut a thing, you are bound to get a certain portion of the object remain and the certain will go out. So that is not used. So the part which is truncated, which is shown as per the given condition, has to be retained. Okay? So that part I am now trying to explain. The condition for that is, the section plane is at 40 degree to HP perpendicular to VP. That means like this. So 40 degrees to the HP. So means like this, but from where? Whether from the midpoint or from the right corner or from the left corner. This question you have to read it clearly. In this problem he says section plane is 40 degrees to HP perpendicular to VP, passes through the extreme left. Extreme left means from here. From this corner, you are passing like this at an angle of 40 degrees to the HP. Means, assume that my hand like this, 10 degree, 20 degree, 30 degree, 40 degree, like this you will be rising from the bottom and then you will be passing the line. So if you do that line, that means this is the interest point for us, that is this point. So from here, taking this as a 0 degree, so you are measuring 40 degree. So suppose now I assume, if I draw a line like this, it may pass like this. Okay? When it passes like this, what is happening? It is just passing the corner here and an edge here, an axis here and a dotted line, this line here and a thick line here. So means we are bound to cut the certain edges, longer edges or a corner of this as per the given condition here. So now after doing this, you have to represent this, the last end. You can use which portion is retained. So in this case, suppose if the bottom portion is retained, you can make this as a thick line here and show an arrow for the retaining portion. So once you do that, it is, this portion is retained, this portion is not used. Okay, like that. So now, the next immediate part is, you have to number this from the, preferably from the left. So I will be taking from this end to this end. And the rule for this is, always you have to number the visible lines first. So the visible lines from the first, from the left means, AA1, according to this it is visible. So you have to number it, call that as 1 dash. Call that as 1 dash. Next immediately you get a BB dash. I am moving like this now, you get a BB1, so BB1 is also visible, So you are getting immediately a visible line, call that as 2 dash. So now you move to third one, but when you move here, axis line will come. So don't number that axis line. You need not number the axis line. So just move ahead. Again you will be getting a DT1. So that is a dotted. Don't number it immediately. We have to number the dotted line, but not now. So we will further move to check the visible longer edges. So when you move further, you will get the one more, that is CC1, that is visible according to the problem. So you have to number this as 3 dash. So 1 dash, 2 dash, 3 dash for the visible points, and then you have to move back. So immediately you get a, while returning you are getting a dotted line, call that as 4 dash. Okay. So axis need not be numbered. So leave that, move back, nothing is there. So you have covered all the points here, 1 dash, 2 dash, 3 dash and 4 dash. Okay. So this is very important. So because once you understand how to mark a section points in the front view, so if you do it correctly, your problem will become correct. If you do it wrong here, you may have a problem in developing. So very important stage for you. Now in the Prism class, we use a method called parallel line method. So what is this parallel line method is, you can just draw a line, a parallel line from the top face and from the bottom face like this. Suppose if you ask now, sir, what should be the length of this? I will tell you one thing. You just draw a 2 parallel line and just mark a 1 line, vertical line, and take this as your reference line. That is, call that as A1. You can use a capital letters here. Okay. So you are using A1, means we are starting from here. From here now you have to measure the distances. So what is the distances now? 25. So you can mark 25 mm. So you will be drawing one more line here at 25 mm. Okay. So that is for this length. And then you are moving, you have a 40 length. So you will be drawing a 40 mm length. 40 mm length. So we have drawn this. Now again 25. So let me mark 25. 25, and while returning back this again 40. So this is the length. So in total, what is the total length is 50 plus 80. So why? There are 240 sides and 225 sides. We are summing that. Okay, and creating the total length here, and that will be the total length from here to here. You need not write that. If you write this much, it is more than sufficient. So you have to draw a vertical lines here. Preferably don't draw a thick lines here. Draw a thin lines in the beginning. Okay, draw a thin lines in the beginning. Why, I will tell you. So you will be getting a compartments 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 compartments. This is a rectangle. It has a 4 sides. So you are getting a 4 compartments. So now we are starting from A1. So this will be B, B1, C, C1, D, D1, and back to A. So when you do like this, see, look at this. So wherever you start, when you move back, the same point will appear. So again we have to call this as A1. Means we are bringing the laminar, the surface, and joining. The joining methods used may be welding or soldering or anything, which normally you might have practiced in the sheet metal laboratory. Okay. So in the industries, normally they use a welding and brazing, those kinds of tools to connect the last portions. So now when you join this, so you will be getting a hollow rectangular solid like this. Okay. So which is a prism class. So we will be bond. Suppose if I fold this, so you will get this figure. So now this is not of our interest. Our interest is after cutting this at a given. So the remaining portion. So the remaining portion here means you should also represent this in thick, and all the lines which you represent below that line should be made thick. So now draw a horizontal line from all these 1 dash, 2 dash, 3 dash, 4 dash. So 1 dash which is lying on AA1, so this is the point. So you can mark an intersection point and call that as 1. And next is similarly here also you will get the same point. This is your 1. So next, draw a horizontal line here to where? To BB line. So where is the BB line? So this is the BB line. So this is the point. So this will be your 2. So now you take 3. So draw a horizontal here. 3 is on the line CC1. So this is 3. Okay. So now you move back 4. So draw a horizontal here. 4 is on the line DD1. So you have to take it to DD1. So this is 4. So now as you see, 1 dash is 1, 2 dash is 2, 3 dash is 3, 4 dash is 4 on the parallel lines that you have drawn and taken to the respective line. So you have marked all the things and back 1. That is very, very important. Don't leave that. Sometimes students will leave the last one. That should not be done like that. You have to draw this and this. Okay, that is important. So now after drawing this, take scale, draw a straight lines here from 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4 and 4 back to 1. So you will be getting a shape like this. Suppose now I hatch this or I give a color to this. So normally all the lines here should be made dark. So this portion is to be made dark. Okay. And all the other lines other than this portion line should be thin. So it should not be drawn dark. So now the retained portion is this. So the development portion is this.